I'm ready.
Glory is mine.
Try again.
I'm ready. Meet your maker.
Glory is mine.
Oh, almost got me that time.
I'm ready.
Glory is mine!
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
Well, look what the doc dug up. You're lucky they didn't notice just how thin you were under those bandages. Although, seeing someone wrapped up like that, they probably thought you had the scabbing plague. Heh? Look, laugh, but don't touch. Better keep that hood down, mind you. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
Playing dead, are you? Probably a good idea.
Ah, you're up. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
There. Not too tight, I hope. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
Good gods. There's been a murder here.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Not with that collar on, you aren't. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? A man of principle. I get it. Wonder how you'll feel when whoever did this does it again. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous. Who?
Come on, please, Loisa.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
No lesions, no trouble.
It was one of them. I know it. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying
An
to
elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
Insufferable, surely. What are you trying to hear anyway?
Don't worry, honey. It is...
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She smiles, contemptuous.
Just a kitten in a...
Closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that? The ship, of course.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rot and bend.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash, and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
We'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close. There now, just like that.
I ain't saying nothing.
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been travelling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
Got this
No indeed, boy. But that ain't my...
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
There's nothing else I can do, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we?
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
There's some discoloration, as well as a rather disconcerting lack of tongue and gums, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? And of course, a cook who can't taste is about as useful as a dog in a chess game. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Insufferable, surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfying. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
Ask what you must. I've nothing to hide.
The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, As per your own testimony, you can tailor and groom, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle. Still, beggars can't be choosers. So without further ado, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Of course you accept. Mine wasn't an offer, it was an order.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now shoo!
Try to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
Come on. Please, Loisa.
A no doesn't become a yes over time, you know. Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
Kid, you been down by the room up the hall?
No.
You sure about that?
No.
What's your name?
No.
Gods, didn't your mother teach you any manners?
I've never died on anything less than a dozen.
She got eaten by a void one.
Name? I don't like comedy. The Divine Order wants to know. Not so fast. Name? Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, eh? We're trying to catch a killer here.
That right. I always knew you two best. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Good.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Keep those buggers trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter? Care about us? We're the cattle to them.
Murder most foul.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
About it.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just...
You one of them? A divine order?
You shut up.
I know you can. That's enough.
It's a register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? Of course I do. Seems Voidwalk could dog your heels like a shadow. That's no way to live, is it? You'll see. We're gonna help you. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
One of us would kill her.
Well, train on her, and if she tries to run...
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
No, I'm afraid I always perform my part solo. Do stay and watch, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What happened? God damn it! We need to get off this wreck, and quick! Not long before this thing snaps into splinters! Great God, something's pounding on the hull!
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and you suddenly feel grey. The touch leaves you numb, dull. It doesn't budge.
Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh. Yes? Shouldn't you be running or screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantic.
I know that you were mortal once, but could you not have let their ignorance fall away with your flesh? I have neither lungs to drown nor stomach to poison. This ship's fate does not concern me. No, damp robes are the most I have to fear. Once this glorified skiff hits the sea floor, I will simply walk to shore. You, on the other hand, would be better placed finding a lifeboat. I dare say you would be hopelessly lost in the ocean's dark heart. I believe you did, although I was wearing the face of an elf at the time. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book. The door, greyness seeps into your bones. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
Said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here. Hear that, kid? We need to go.
What about the ladder? It's right over there. You can go straight down.
You wonder briefly about the prospects of an undead lived beneath the sea, the darkness, the terrors. You clench your eyes and brace for impact.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard, now presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? It seems someone, something, wanted me alive. Garbage. I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
The child considers your statement.
You're weird. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching the shadows cloaking your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. They're gone now. Their Magisters took them already. I guess now they're cured. And maybe they're waiting for me back at home.
Voidwoken! Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn, they made it ashore.
I know you.
I thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a Voidwoken. I wonder which order.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red colour. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Come to report for duty, have you? I must say I find that very remarkable. Word has reached me, you see, through a very sour grapevine indeed, that you turned your back on your master. Left me to fend for myself. So much easier, isn't it, to look out for oneself alone? Sorry is a word for the weak. Stand by your actions. Besides, I wasn't fishing for an apology, so if there's nothing further... If you really must know, I haven't quite decided yet.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter...
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. Even if it comes from the very person that left me and others to rot on a sinking ship. You do look able, though. despite your selfish tendencies. Tendencies to which I'm no stranger, truth be told. Fine, I accept, on one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me, jolly good. Oh my word, how you do astound me. Come now, did you really think a handful of linen towels can fool me? But don't worry. I have studied the arcane arts for years, including necromancy and demonology. I do not hold the petty prejudices of common folks. In fact, I prefer the exceptional in all things. Your secret is safe with me. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself, but I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic and, yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards, then, to victory or death?
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be travelling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off! A black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous.
Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? Sure wish you'd gone back to save the others. Though, I did see one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. So I guess some of them survived at least.
What's this? I found something.
I need a shovel.
One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
now speak. Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come.
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness.
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
Hush now.
Come on, old man. I can't wait all day.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair.
I told him at noon exactly. Didn't I?
Did you see them, sir? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself, they were so close, almost within arm's reach. A traitor cannot be murdered. A traitor can only receive their due. The Divine Order's all that stands between everything you see and a Void Woken's throat. Any traitor to them is a traitor to us all. Believe it or don't. The Divine Order doesn't need our loyalty. They'll save us in spite of ourselves.
Come on then, Lexi. Pay up.
This is not your business, Long Pig.
Don't let this moss muncher talk to you like that. Especially a cheapskate like this one. Griff already knows she don't like to pay her fair share.
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf and rolls up his sleeves, revealing well-muscled and heavily scarred arms. You recognize him. It's Ifan, who you met aboard the ship on the way here.
Just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no business of yours.
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment before shuffling back to the protection of his crone.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you. Everyone in camp's got to contribute. For food, for protection, no exceptions. Especially not for elves. Griff's orders.
Food? Protection? I have neither.
Burrow looks you both up and down, sizing up your combined threat.
Ah, get out of here. The both of you. You ain't worth a sweat on my brow anyhow.
The elf smiles and bows to you in thanks.
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
Ifan rolls his sleeves back down. He nods at you. The shadow...
Good work there. Good work. I can tell you've got chops. Say, you were on the ship here with me, weren't you?
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours.
Suit yourself. Probably wise. given the rashes you can pick up around this place. Say, you don't look all that busy now that we're safely on dry land. I could use someone to watch my back, and it looks like you could use someone to watch yours. I've just got a small errand to run, and then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place? Everyone needs to make a living. I make mine running errands. That's the truth. For me, for you, for everyone in this place. Why not help each other get out of here? The usual way. Haphazard, terrifying, and drenched in blood. Haven't quite worked out the details yet, but I'll wager it'll be no worse than what'll happen if we stay put. 2 heads are better than 1. And when push comes to shove, 4 fists are better than 2, right?
He grins, sharp teeth.
So, before we hit the road, it's best if we decide battle strategies up front. Should keep more of our blood in. Survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But if a wayfarer's not what you're after, I've got other skills. What do you need? Can do. Onwards.
He scans the horizon for threats with one green eye, then nods back at you.
Right you are.
I saw what you did there, convincing Burrow not to lay the law down on that. You watch yourself. Oddballs don't last long around.
You gonna pray all day, buddy? Hey, I know you.
Losa, the dark-eyed jokester you met aboard the ship, waves enthusiastically and dips into a mock elegant curve.
Back then, I was Madame Josephine Gribbles de Pube. You. Glad to see you made it. Nothing like a nice tentacle slap across the moor to set the tone for the week, eh? How'd you escape? Escape boat? I never even saw one. Guess I was knocked out cold. What about when you were in the water? Did you hear anything? No. I mean, not more unusual than usual. It's just, I thought maybe...
Losa's voice catches in her throat. The joy drains from her face. Her eyes lose focus, and her whole body goes rigid. She is stock-still, waxy-skinned, her eyes dark. Greyish-black veins run from her eyes down her cheeks. Her head snaps to you mechanically, and her eyes lock with yours, dark pupils dilated into great black voids. Light suddenly flashes back into her face. The grey veins drain to pinkish flesh, and her whole body relaxes.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. It was a shipwreck, all right. Not much more to say about it, I guess. Papa Joris used to tell me, Losa, he'd say, Losa, you ever find yourself in a sinking ship, follow the rats. They'll find you a way out. Applies to a lot of situations, actually. Vermin tend to know what's what. It's nothing really. It's just, I'm just a bit hospitable. Put it like this. You've never been a host, I bet. That's because you're an infested clump of leaves on the side of the road. That ain't bad, though. I'd give just about anything to be like you. But I'm a roadside inn. Red door, flowers out front, friendly lady at the door beckoning you in for half price. Like a goddamn gold star inn for the disembodied. Now, isn't that just the question of the hour? I can't be sure just yet. I'll be surprised if it's a demon. Definitely not a sprite either. Maybe a spectre, but I wouldn't bet money on it. So, how are you enjoying the joy? Yeah? I was just thinking the same sort of thing. So, you want to check this place out together? Strength. And don't worry, by the by. I forgive you for leaving me to drown on that ship. One of the kiddies on board made it out alive, told us all about it. But don't worry, manslaughter happens. It hasn't stopped me from thinking it'd be a good idea to travel together. What do you say? It does, right? Before we head out, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve, so you'll have to pick which one I'll pull out if, when, push comes to shove. Lately, I've been into the enchanting arts, but I can shoot, slash, summon, steal, whatever your little... Sounds fine. Yeah? Well, that was easier than I thought, and I'll do my best to stay myself. Lead the way. Well, no, or I wouldn't have joined up with you, would I? Don't worry, I'm sure your get-up will fool most people hook, line, and sinker. I'm sensitive. Knew who you were the moment you rolled up. So don't worry, and lead the way, your deadliness.
So this is Fort Joy. What a crumbling disaster.
Nice and
Surely you have one.
Come on, chap. Don't be unreasonable. Better even to puke yourself to death than get purged, don't you think? You should be... Please, excuse us.
You're talking to me, not him, Sam.
Oh, for the love of Lucian, Balladeer. You're acting...
Say it again. What you said about my wife. Go on. Piss off. Go on, Sam.
Well, it's the truth, and you know it. She's better off. So what if it was messy? I'd rather puke myself to death 1,000 times than let the Reds get to me. If she were my wife, I'd be happy for her.
A flat smile twitches across Balladeer's lips.
She never did like you.
The man looks for a moment at the corpse at his feet, then turns back toward the nearly finished coffin. Bloodied
Murder's a big word. And no, this here's a bed for someone 1,000 times better than that snake. Rest her soul. The love of my life. Gret. She passed in the night. Something in the stomach. Doctor.
He tenderly runs a hand along the coffin.
If she were here, she'd tell me this plank is crooked. Chastise me for using warped wood on her final bed. Then she'd laugh and kiss me.
The man holds a hand to his cheek for a moment. He turns from you, lines up another nail, and hammers it into the panel.
I'll be with you soon, love.
I found you, didn't I? Red, they said. Red, then dead. Them that pay the bills, of course. I'll be a rich man when you're 6 feet under. Time's up, Your Highness. Let's dance. It's stabbing time.
Glory is mine.
yourself.
Damned nuisance these assassins are. It's their frightful manners I mind the most, really. Well, that was rather fun, wasn't it? I do find it ever so invigorating to cut a cutthroat's throat. Oh, one gets used to this kind of thing so quickly. This is hardly the first time someone's filled some poor fool's purse and bid him kill the prince. I'll tell you what, though. Whomever wants me out of the picture will have to do a lot better if they seek to get the better of me. All those bumblers they've sent so far mark a mere insult to my swordsmanship.
The woman looks out on the gently lapping waves. She seems totally at peace, but as you approach, she turns to you with a cheerful smile.
Haven't seen you around here before. New? Well, most certainly. I brought my... Haven't seen you around here before. New? You here alone?
She gives you...
You think twice about facing this mean world. Some of us haven't got anyone...
Tired of the view in here yet? Oh, come on, lad. I can...
Ivan smiles and